Oh,
we do love
Okay.
you.
my
Okay.
little face there. Thanks.
What's that?
I have a little funny face there.
Oh.
It's all right
Is it
now.
going away? Okay. Matthew's back. Okay. Let's do it, guys. Bum, ba-dum, bum. Live on Facebook. The Duchenne Live. Share to your page. Boom. Ryan, you're on.
All right. I'm just trying to get it up on Facebook so I can monitor the chat.
Mhm.
There we go. Just disappeared. There we are. All right. Welcome everybody to what's this show called again? Living with Duchenne. Sorry, I actually do forget. I can't remember if it was Living with Duchenne or the Duchenne Life. Okay.
The Duchenne Life, I think.
There we go. Thank you. Here we go. See, there it's that whole Duchenne brain thing. I guess I do have it. Thank you, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about etiquette, just kind of how to meet us, greet us, and talk to us, different things like that. We'd like to welcome Felix back in a little while.
Yes, it has.
Welcome. Glad you're feeling better.
Thank you.
I'd like to welcome Joanne back. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Lovely to see you.
Got Matthew back. Got DJ B. Got Lindy back there in the background. And did we want to have Felix give a little mini introduction again?
Oh yeah, sure. I'm Felix. I'm 24 years old with Duchenne muscular dystrophy. Currently I'm at Rice University doing a PhD program.
Do you want to do everybody do an introduction or? Okay,
maybe
Matthew
everybody.
down here's 34 and from Georgia. I'm 39, almost 40, and from Arizona. Joanne, you don't have to tell us your age.
I'm 21 again. My name's Joanne. I'm from Australia. I'm a manifesting carrier.
We're glad to have you representing here.
Thank you,
And-
Ryan.
And we have DJ. I'm 41 and I'm from West Virginia. All right. And Lindy, do you want to introduce yours? Okay. But just so you know, Lindy Phyllis is awesome. She's the brains behind all this stuff. So let's talk a little bit about body language. First of all, you're not going to get a lot of body language out of some of us. But that's not what we're here talking about. We're here talking about, for those of you who don't have a disability, just kind of your body language you could use around us, or just how to react around somebody in a wheelchair with a disability, so that you're not worried about offending us, we're not getting offended, just so everybody's happier. As you know, a lot of body language is unconscious, we're not thinking about it, and most of us that are in wheelchairs, both Duchenne, we have been able to move at some point, walk, and we kind of would do that same thing if we could. But let's start with Felix. What have you noticed about other people's body language towards you sometimes?
Sometimes I think, I don't know, I guess sometimes I don't really pay attention because I'm used to not trying to care about those things sometimes. But I do see like body language that is sort of avoidant. One thing I tend to see a lot is, I don't know if this counts, but looking at when they walk past you, they start looking at their phone and just avoid contact. Speaking with you, I've seen that happen quite a bit. I don't know if y'all had the same experiences, but that's one example I've seen in my life, I guess.
Okay, and I think we'll talk a little bit more about that. Just, I guess maybe later, maybe not today, but yeah, you know, they're not quite sure what to say, so it's easier just to kind of act like they're not looking at you. One thing I've noticed, a lot of people, you know, kind of look at your feet when they're talking to you, sort of. They're not really looking right at your
Yeah.
foot. It's weird. I don't know why. I've gotten that. Or you know, they don't want to stare, so they're not looking at you. There was another one I was going to say. I can't think of it.
Well, they stare and they quickly look away. That aggravates me. And they don't
Right.
talk to you.
Right.
Yeah.
They're just not
Come and
quite
talk
sure.
to me. I'm not going to bite you.
I don't know. Have you met DJ in person? I don't think DJ is going to bite anybody either. But so the one thing I keep forgetting what I was going to say. All right, let's go to DJ. For me, I don't usually look at body language too much.
Yeah.
Other when they go out of their way to not be discovered as staring. I have noticed like people, they can be like 5 feet away and they'll jump away or try to get back, like afraid you're going to run
Yeah.
over with the wheelchair. You know, which I get that. Maybe that's involuntary, but most of us are pretty good drivers. But yeah, I when I started using this thing all the time that I wear to breathe, I was worried about people staring at me. Instead, it was people don't look at me. You know, and I'm from a small town where people usually look and say hi to each other.
I find also they won't talk to me. They'll talk to my support worker.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, I can't talk. And that I
Right.
find frustrating.
Right. You could ask them the question and they're or you know, if we go into an elevator, you know, or a sidewalk, how often do people, even if it's a room, you know, you want to give us room, so you just say, oh, you go ahead, wait outside. Well, you can share an elevator or a sidewalk with us. We're not going to suddenly go crazy and take out your shins.
But I think just, I guess one caveat to that sort of, I noticed that sometimes sidewalks are super narrow and it's kind of hard to do that, but
Yeah, that is true. When that happens. Or, you know, sometimes we can be polite too. We can, I've seen a lot of people, I've like pulled over somewhere where there's room, or I'll stop so they can get by and they still just walk around
yeah.
on the sidewalk. That's my thing is, you know, let us be nice to you sometimes. You don't have to always be just nice to us. We could.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so did they ask your mom if you could if you could understand them? Well, you know, in that case, at least they asked instead of I don't know. I mean, they could obviously they've assumed you can't, but
Yeah.
I'd rather them at least or ask you if you could understand. Anybody have anything more to say about body language? We're going to kind of from here. We're going to kind of break it down into smaller things. So first, how do you greet somebody with a disability, somebody in a wheelchair? Let me read my chat. Oh, that stinks.
Yeah, you
So
would think they know by now.
yeah. Okay. All right, I wasn't sure if you wanted that read out loud or, but DJ also said the saddest part is that family will ask. Hey, I just. But I mean, my mom's been asked some pretty weird stuff too. But that's a different topic. So let's say, so how to greet us? So what are what do we want you to do? Yeah, we want you to just come up and give us a big high five. Okay, we don't want you to do that because we can't give a high five. So, Felix, do you want to? You're young and cool, and you can actually still do some stuff. Like you're more mobile, DJ and
Yeah.
I.
So I guess like I'm more usually when I get greeted verbally, I guess is kind of I guess that's easier for me actually now that I think about it. And yeah, I mean I agree like sometimes a high five can be difficult for me as well. And also handshakes, just kind of depending on the situation, but it's easier if someone actually initiates it. Which yeah, that's tends to be easier, but verbally is also a good choice, I would say.
Yeah,
All right.
what is your? Oh,
Okay, one.
okay. Or
Hey.
then also. Oh, hi Juan, welcome.
Hey, how's everybody?
Hey.
Good, we'll get you spotlighted here in a minute.
All right.
I know a lot of people like to shake hands to greet people, and so one thing I try to do before they even like I want to start seeing them going for a handshake. I say, hey, give me a fist bump instead. A lot of people do a fist bump, or
Yeah.
Rather try to explain to them. If you're a really good friend of mine, like that knows me well, you could grab my hand and put it in your hand, like let me shake your hand and give me a really good shake. I'll like that.
I agree.
So DJ says I would like if people would just use common sense and treat me like you treat anyone else. I'm okay, just verbal greetings or a pat on the shoulder, like you would a friend. Yeah, you don't have to touch. Um, like you don't have to shake hands anyway. A pat on the shoulder is nice. And
I
welcome
mean,
on.
from a female point of view, like we don't fist pump, we don't high five. I just appreciate if someone just acknowledges me.
Yeah.
Sometimes I see this to say hi kind of deal too from people.
Well, it's funny. I used to just do like the head nod or hey, what's up? And now I realize, wait a minute, people can't really tell that I'm moving my head
Yeah.
anymore when I do that. So I just people give me one of those that say, hey,
But one thing I'm kind of thinking about as well as we're talking about this is sort of now that like COVID hit and all that, I don't know if that sort of changes how we think about sort of saying hi and things like that as well in terms of that contact basically.
yeah, I think that has kind of changed things and helped us out a little bit. Real quick, Juan, would you like to just say your age, where you're from for us?
Say where I'm from.
Yeah, just
Where am
like
I
what
from?
state and your age.
Oh. Say that one more time. I didn't hear you.
Oh, can you tell us what state you're from and your age?
Oh, I'm 35 years old and I live in Georgia.
All right, thank you. Just give a quick, we gave quick introductions for everybody. And
Oh,
we're
yeah,
talking
please.
about etiquette and body language, things like that.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think we touched on, how often we have people like come stick their hand out for us to shake their hand, and they expect us to reach out and grab their hand too. And And I'm like, you got to come to me.
Yep. Yeah, you're right. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, so whenever I meet somebody, usually I see they might reach for my hand, so yeah, it could be dangerous sometimes because my wheelchair might be in drive. So when you touch it, then it might hit you. So I tell people, hey, you can't shake my hand. You have to lift my hand to shake your hand, basically. That's what I tell everybody.
Yeah, I've had several old people at church almost run themselves over. Try to like shake my hands, and like, so it used to be I was fast up. It's every time I stopped, I turned the chair off. I was fast enough.
Yep, you're right. I do the same thing.
Yeah,
Turn the
it's
chair off
dangerous.
too.
Yeah, so if you're going to greet somebody in a wheelchair with a disability, ask, is it okay if I shake your hand, or what would you prefer?
Uh, and I know it doesn't matter to me because people are
Well,
gonna do what they want to,
yeah,
regardless of whether they ask or not.
I just don't like running people over.
Yeah, that's my only thing. Or me running into a wall.
Yeah, yeah, my chair's broken my leg before. So.
Yeah, yeah, I know where you've been. I've sprained my ankle like twice.
Yeah, because these chairs just have no feelings.
Yep, Nancy broke his leg at camp years ago.
Yeah. And I think the last thing that I want to add about this is if you do shake our hands, we've given you permission to shake our hands. I'm gonna have to call somebody in here for a second, real quick. But if you do shake our hands, give us a nice handshake. Don't just give us like a 2-finger floppy salute or shake thing.
The baby handshake.
I need to mute real quick. My ventilator is beeping because I need to have somebody come in and plug it, but plug it in. So do we have any? Somebody want to read the comments? Well, I'm going to mute for a second.
Let's see where we're at. DJ says our joysticks always seem to be magnets for people to touch. Yeah, that's for sure true. People like to also ring the bell thing on mine sometimes. Yeah, Juan agrees. Matthew, I assume Juan, that's another story. I guess I'm not sure what he's referring to, but
I like when little kids like to touch the buttons as well. That's a fun part because sometimes you can get flying forward.
that could definitely be a dangerous thing for that to happen, for sure.
While making my call, let's go to casual conversations real quick. Just talk about kind of that.
Sure, yeah. What do we say again? All right. Kind of forgot what we said here. All right. Well, I guess what I would say about casual conversations is like, it's kind of the same as what DJ's saying, just like treat us as anybody else in terms of conversations. There's plenty to talk about. It doesn't always have to be about disability. We can talk about what our interests are. We all have diverse interests here, I'm pretty sure, and you're likely to find something that has common ground. So I would say, yeah, just treat us like anybody else in terms of conversations.
Okay, I'm back. You guys hear my beep? Okay, so what did I miss?
Oh, just saying casual conversation just is the same for just anyone else. It doesn't have to be about disability, and we're just like anyone else. We have our own interests and probably some common ground that we don't know yet, but generally talking, you can find that out.
Okay. One thing Joanne brought up earlier is if we ask you a question or it's something concerning us, actually talk to us about it, tell us. Don't talk to our care provider or, or if we have a cat that likes to scream, don't talk to the cat, talk to us. In general, don't talk to cats, it's weird. But unless it's yours, but yeah, I think that's a big thing. We've all had that where, we're in the store, we're in Walmart, ask somebody where something is, and they start telling my caregiver all about how to get there, and not me. And then my caregiver's like, what are they, like, where did they say we had to go? And is anybody else experienced that?
Yeah, I mean for sure. Yeah, my
Yeah.
parents get asked a lot of get asked the questions about me as well. Oh, sorry, Juan, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
You're good. Yeah, sometimes on my end, but it's usually in like the doctor's office. It's usually when that happens or whatever. When they usually talk to my caregivers or my mom instead of myself.
Yep.
So to break the ice sometimes when I'm in the doctor's office, I might crack jokes with the doctor just to let them know, hey, I'm coherent,
Yeah, for sure.
You would read DJ's.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll do that. DJ was saying, please feel free to talk with us. Don't worry about offending us as long as it's within normal conversation. It's fine. Yeah, I agree. I mean, yeah, I guess we don't have to like tell you how to have conversations, right? Everyone knows how to do that. Just do that for us as well.
And also give us some space when you talk to us. You don't have to be like right there in front of us looking way down, because a lot of us, that's going to be hard to look up at you. We might, to talk to you. So, you could kind of stand back a little bit. So there are a few differences in talking to somebody else, or if we're in a, circle of people are talking. I've had this happen before where all of a sudden I'm the guy in the middle of the circle. And everybody just kind of closing in. I'm like,
Oh yeah,
what are you people doing to me?
you're getting eaten alive with
Yeah.
conversation.
And I'd like to also ask, does everybody else here feel like, have you ever had somebody come to talk to you and they kind of like kneel down or squat down to get at your height to talk to you?
Yes.
Just wonder, how do you feel about that?
Mm.
I think it can be off-putting, but then I also think we're always taught to get down to someone's level to talk to them.
Yeah.
And I think maybe they think that that's part of social etiquette, that they actually get down and talk to us on our level so that we can see them. But
You're
also
having
we get
that
the
eye
ones,
contact.
yeah. But then you also get the ones who yell at you because they think you're deaf. I've had that happen quite often.
Mm.
Yeah. The only, like, I've had some close friends or people I know that I haven't seen for a while that will do that talk to me. I haven't talked to them in a long time. Or one thing I've noticed is when I was at the PPMD conference a few weeks ago, their
Mhm.
part where it's just so loud you couldn't hear anything. And I'm down here and they're up there, they couldn't hear me. So, at those times they'd been down so they could hear me, which I get that there's a lot of noise, but you don't have to just like get down just automatically. And then Matthew says, I don't like when people get right in my face to talk. I don't think anybody likes when somebody gets right in your face to talk. And let's see. So did we already read? Okay, DJ said, please feel free to talk to us. Is that it? We ever read that yet?
Yeah.
Okay, but
Oh, I didn't read the second part. It says, DJ said, for me, when people have conversations with me, they like to move on without allowing me time to respond. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that.
that's good. I think that's partly human nature. You know, it's, hey, how are you doing? Oh, great. How are you? Oh, you know, that's kind of what somebody actually wants to hear how you're doing. You know, usually they don't want to hear, well, last week. I don't want conversations too is how to address us. I prefer your eminence or your majesty or grace, you know.
Your Highness.
Yes, that's what I prefer if you're going to address us. But yeah, if you're going to address us, you know, ask us our name, or you could. I'm at the age now I get called Mister.
You should be called Doctor.
Yeah, they can call me Doctor. But actually, a lot of people, they'll talk to me a certain way, like I'm not intelligent or not you know, can't understand. And I usually wait for somebody else to like mention that I have a PhD. Like,
Yeah.
oh, all right. So Master Jedi Matthew said I prefer Master Jedi. But you know, you can ask us what we prefer to be called.
DJ says don't use child names, please, like Squirt. I've got a weird one. Someone's called me Tiger before. It was weird.
Wow, Tiger.
I was like, it was an old lady. I don't know.
It's all right, champ. You got yeah, you know, use names. I had somebody once well, she was a friend, but she was like when I was in college, she worked was a secretary at an office. And one day she said something and called me her little friend. I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
what? That's not.
Yeah, Matthew Buddy is yeah, that's a common one too. Yeah, or hi there, buddy. Yeah, Juan says hi there. People say hi there, buddy.
Hey there, buddy. Little buddy. Yeah.
Or sometimes they're like, it will get better. And I'm just like, I don't know.
Oh.
That's what I feel when I hear that.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about that in a little bit here. Let's just say I've got some fun stories of drunks I've run into that are very sympathetic. I think we'll discuss those in a little bit here. And yes, most of us, unless we're wearing a hearing aid, you don't need to yell. We can hear you.
That's a good one, Matthew. He says I just start calling them buddy back.
There you go, Matthew.
That works.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, I'm good. Buddy, how about you? Okay, so we've got a question. Do people treat you like you're younger than you are?
Yep. All the time.
Yes, that first reaction, right? Yeah, go ahead, Juan.
Because they usually ask questions. I don't know. I mean, you go ahead.
Well, for a long time, I tell people I was like in college or taking college classes, and we have a local 2-year community college here. Say, oh, are you going to the community college? I'm like, no. I'm like, I'm in a PhD program. Like, oh, you know.
I've been asked, are you in high school yet? I've been asked that too, which is yeah. but I think there might be some aspect of the steroids aspect of it, like because your height gets doesn't really grow as much, so that's also part of it, I would say.
Well,
Bit
from my
different.
perception,
Go ahead, Juan.
from my perception, from experience, so I take it back to when I was in high school. A new girl had moved to the high school or whatever. So I had ended up trying to talk to her or whatever, got a phone number, and we were talking for a while. And then come to find out we was better off friends. So fast forward to graduation, my cousin was like, he seen her. He's like, hey, who's that girl so and so? So I hooked them up together. So he told me a conversation they had. And she's like, oh, I didn't know guys in wheelchairs and talk like this and that. I thought everybody in wheelchairs was retarded or something. So I think a lot of people have that perception, and that's probably why they talk to us like that sometimes. If that makes sense.
Yeah, mostly I think so. Joanne.
I'm basically think they base a lot of our intellect of what society wants us to look like. So if you look different, maybe you're not as smart as someone who looks normal, I shall say.
I also think it might be more comfortable for air quote society if, we're not like them. If we're not able to think, if we're not like intelligent or our age, maybe like subconsciously or, maybe that'd be easier for them if they didn't have to think about things or, if they didn't have to think, oh, well, oh, you're like me, I have to treat you like a regular human.
Yeah, DJ is adding to that, not equals, as part of that. So
Yeah, I think it's a lot easier to deal with us if we're not equals, but then they find out we are equals, and that maybe takes some people some time to change. So for somebody,
actually, fine.
oh,
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, when I find that they do treat you as equals, then suddenly things kind of change, and especially if you're like kind of the same age as them, it gets kind of competitive. I don't know if you'll seen that before, but things get a little bit different once once they feel you're equals, like their attitude kind of changes. I guess to less condescending, but it kind of changes in a different direction, I would say.
And so I'm just gonna say, in my personal life, I have somebody that used to be a friend until recently, and as soon as I started doing well for myself with education,
Yeah.
they kind of like just turned on me. It's like all of a sudden I'm like the one person that's not supposed to be able to do better than them, and I'm here making good things in my life. And they just kind of just turned on me.
Yeah,
Is that-
Lindy, sorry, go ahead. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, right?
No, so Lindy says, does it get like you're a threat?
Yes, that's happened for sure. um, yeah, I don't know. It just, yeah, they just get competitive about things and thinking I don't understand my own situation kind of deal, or like I don't know. There's a story once where someone asked me about my high school GPA, and then I told them, and they're like being condescending, saying, "Are you sure you calculated that right?" And I'm just like, "Yes." But yeah, just that kind of those types of comments just give you an example of what happens when you're able to do just as well as some people without disabilities as well. But I'm not saying that happens all the time. It just there are people like that.
I get the opposite. People expect my high school GPA to be real high. I'm just gonna say it wasn't real high. Yeah, stereotypes are alive and well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I definitely know a lot about that from some of the work I do for IO psychology, but yeah, the stereotypes are a major drag. It's very hard to break that too. Hopefully what we're doing here helps with that somewhat.
And I think it's a generational thing as well. How people have been raised previously to how they're raising themselves now.
Yeah.
Well, in the early 1900s, if they'd put you in an institution for anything, if somebody's child had any kind of problem, first half of the up to 1960, 70 even, they just send them off to some school somewhere. And, other people in the community would never see this child or know about them.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah,
you know, women
yeah,
would get stuck in a mental institution for
Mhm.
PMS.
Yeah, actually, the ADA director here at Rice, when he was young, he just got sent off to a institution, and his parents didn't really interact with him ever since. So that's kind of it. It still happens, I guess. Kind of my point there.
Yeah, maybe we don't get put in an institution so much now, but people might treat us a little bit like that. Oh, you turn my camera. Here, continue. I got to mute and turn my camera off for a second.
Yeah, sure. I'll read what's. I think I need some catching up here. So, Juan, I think I might have lost what the thank you was, but Juan also says people are surprised I obtained a college degree online. DJ says I do find that new meetings are much more condescending by a mile compared to those who have met us before. Yeah, I agree with that statement as well. It's an interesting situation. Sometimes, like I'm on the first day of a college class or something, people are like, are you supposed to be here?" kind of deal. Anyone
One
else?
second, guys. I'll
Yeah,
be
go
right
ahead.
back.
No worries. Well, I guess if I have to give a percentage, I guess it kind of depends on the situation too. What do you think it will take to change? Do you mean the stereotypes, or just how people switch from condescending to not, basically? Oh yeah. It's a very challenging question, actually. But generally, the hypotheses that are said in research is that the more you interact with people with disabilities, the better. That's the best way to fight stereotypes. That the oh, sorry. Yeah. So Lindy says, what do you think it will take to change the way people with disabilities are treated in general? And I guess that's a hard question. But like I said, like that kind of interaction, like I think what we're doing here is definitely part of that interaction, and showing people that we have a lot of different backgrounds. We can do a lot of different things that people with disabilities can't, or no, people without disabilities can. We can do the same things in many ways. Maybe we do it in different ways, but we can still get at a lot of the similar types of experiences other people have. But I don't know if anyone wants to add to that.
I mean, I have noticed in Australia, we have a system called the NDIS. And since it's been implemented, I've noticed there are a lot more of people with disabilities out in the community. So it's opening up to people who don't have disabilities a wide-ranging view of what we do, what we're capable of. And I think that's really beneficial.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I heard similar things about when the ADA was passed in America as well. That's definitely laws are definitely helpful for sure, and that's been support it all over, but sometimes that's still limited, right? There's still a lot of social issues that cannot, or at this moment cannot be legislated about. So those are some of the complicated side of things.
I'm back, by the way.
All right, welcome
You
back.
know, I saw Juan saying that some people are surprised that I obtained a college degree online. I had that happen to me too, that I did it online, but I think a lot of that too depends on the age, the generation. You know, for a lot of people, like online schooling was just when it was new, they'd never heard of that, or but
But
then
now it's
other
probably
people,
more and more likely, right? Because of everyone had to be online during COVID, right?
yeah. So, but you know, but still, you know, they are just surprised that we do
Mhm.
things. I think people's idea of us is that we just don't think, we don't do anything, we just exist. And all I can say is I'm grateful for computers and stuff now. I don't know what I would have done back in the time they didn't have TV or computers.
Yeah, computers are very convenient nowadays. It
Yeah.
gives us more of a chance to have a more of a social life now than it was maybe in the 90s or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely the video technology's been much better now, right?
Yeah.
Where we could do this.
And also the information that's available now. I mean,
Yeah.
my son was
Mhm.
diagnosed in the 90s, and really, I couldn't get on the internet and chat to people like this, find out other people's experiences. And this
Yeah.
has been so beneficial now that communities can get involved with one another
Hmm.
through being online.
Yeah, if you wanted to find out about Duchenne, you went to the public library and found the encyclopedia and read the entry about that. That was, you know, pretty offensive. It didn't really say a whole lot or tell much.
And researchers are actually not so great about explaining what a paper says and that kind of thing, right? That too.
So now it's
Yeah.
at your fingertips. So whenever I have something I want to look for, I go on the internet and I look for the information in more than one website.
Yeah.
That's really how I educated myself about Duchenne muscular dystrophy.
It's a little bit harder as a female because there's really not much information out there.
Mhm.
Yeah, you have to dig for it if
Yeah,
you want.
you really
If
do.
you want to find it.
You know, like 20 years ago, so many years that they didn't believe women had could be manifested carriers. And
Oh,
it just it's terrible to think about how many women had to go through this and have it. And nobody believed them or listened or
Well, I had a really rough time. I mean, I wasn't diagnosed till I was nearly 40. And I was always told you're fat, you're lazy, you're dreaming it, basically, it's all in your head.
that's
And it was
horrible.
so good when I was diagnosed to finally say, it wasn't in my head. I've had all these symptoms for years. And if people had listened, when I was 15 years old, I would have had a diagnosis then. But instead, people just wanted to argue with one another and say, oh, no, that doesn't exist.
no, I
And
think one
now
of the
it was
problems,
something help that I required, which is great.
and I think one of the problems, like saying that it's all in your head, I might offend some people here that are in the psychology world. And if I do, you shouldn't be offended because it's time to change it. Certain Freudians. But I blame Freud. Because you know, he had all this
He
stuff
deserves
that
it.
it was
I'm just
important.
kidding.
That you know, his ideas were just they did not belong in any kind of modern society psychology now, you know, it's like you know, you're not manifesting something through your brain power. If I could do that, I'd be walking right now. which they,
Ryan, I don't think you
Uh,
would offend many people in the psychology world with that.
well, I just tried to stand up. I don't know if you guys saw it, but I don't think it worked. Have you read DJ's last comment yet?
Yeah, I was gonna read it right now, actually. DJ said this was going back to when we were talking about online education. He said, I would love to go to college, even if it is just virtual. For me, technology has actually allowed me to actually live again through eye gaze. So yeah, technology, yeah, is definitely very helpful. And I find the virtual format pretty helpful as well.
I think you could do it, DJ. Put your mind to it, brother. You got it.
You know what? I think we can find an online program for you, DJ. There's enough stuff out there.
Sure.
We're gonna find you that, DJ.
Yeah, there's like Coursera. Well, that's the basic classes, but then there's a bunch of universities, right?
Udemy, you can get
Yeah,
online degrees through that. There's some other programs like, you know, they can probably get financial aid for things.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
there's a lot now, I think. And then let's see what else. I'm just listing some in case that's helpful. I think Walden University, I've heard, is a good opportunity there as well. Yeah, I have to think about this, but those are just on the top of my head.
Well, I think this will be a good topic for later.
Yeah.
Just education and schooling or employment opportunities, different things like that. But you know, it just shows you we're normal people. You know, and also just because you know one person in a wheelchair that's gotten a degree or you know, or more than a degree, learn stuff. I mean, DJ Kimball is one of the most educated people I know. DJ like knows so much stuff. You're always looking things up, and that's something. But you know, you want to get that degree, we're going to do that. But then there's also people that you know that don't want to learn anything, don't want to. Just as you know, there's people that can walk that want to go to college. Some don't.
Yeah.
We're normal people. Don't judge, and we don't all know each other. Everybody with Duchenne.
Yeah.
Or anyone else who's in a wheelchair normally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had that a lot. Oh, do you know so and so? Like, no, why would I know them? I don't know. I just thought.
Like, it looks like your doppelganger. I don't know.
Although now people in Georgia know each other because they're in Georgia. That's why Matthew and Juan know each other, right? Just because you're in Georgia.
Yep.
Okay.
That's how I know
Man, that
Lindy.
summer camp.
Yeah.
When we were kids. Yeah, me and Matthew, we met at MBA summer camp back in
Nice.
1997, I believe.
Oh, nice.
Fun
That's
time.
cool because I've never really had any present Duchenne until recently here. So this stuff I never knew anybody. So I wish I had gone to summer camps. That's also a great thing about here in the US. You know, it used to be all I knew about was MDA. They had a magazine. I feel like since the internet has come out, there's so many nonprofits out there, so many ideas, people doing great things. It's a lot easier now. So I'm glad to see technology is helping. And maybe with the coming generations, it's going to slowly get better. I will say, the current generation, like Felix's generation, you guys are super nice to each other. Maybe a little bit too nice sometimes. You guys are nice, you know. You care about people, worry about how they feel. We didn't worry about that
I
quite
try.
so much when I was your age. We made a lot of jokes. Maybe we're insensitive. Some people in high school are pretty mean to some populations. Did we talk about that you don't have to yell at? We talked about that, right?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Okay. I think we're kind of getting close to time. So unless we have some questions on Facebook or something that comes up.
I'll
One
check it.
thing is when you talk to us, you could use normal language. You don't have. I've had so many people say, "Hey, you want to go for a walk?" I mean, a roll. And I'm like, just say walk. Or like, oh, I'm just gonna run to this. Oh, run to the store. It's like, okay. I'm like, I usually say, well, take the car so you don't get a speeding ticket. Anybody want to comment on that?
I guess I kind of have an interesting story about that. So one time in a college class, the professor was telling us like how to de-stress, and she's like, you can take a walk outside around campus to relax. And then at the end of class, she actually came up to me and said, I didn't mean to offend you in any way by saying walk around campus. So kind of the opposite, but just a funny story about that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
well,
like,
to me, I think the safe word would be stroll. Let's go for a stroll. So that could mean walking or rolling your miles.
Hmm.
I think they also think we take it to heart.
Yeah.
And we don't. Just use normal conversation.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, even my daughter, she trips over herself sometimes and says, come for a walk, mum. And then she'll look at me and say, roll.
I'm a lot more sensitive about my hairline than about my disability, Uh, but nobody's worried about being offensive there. So, but yeah, people mean well, it's just like you might say something about a haircut or, you're not going to worry about offending somebody that's bald by saying, oh man, I hate it when the wind blows through my hair. So, yeah,
Yeah,
don't worry about
sure.
offending us either. Yeah, so I always make sure I've had people like DJ says, all right, I always ask to go for a walk, just common language. Yeah, I've had people actually, I think in college, they said, hey, you want to go for a roll or whatever? I said, no, I'd prefer to go for a walk. They're like, oh, okay. So just use what you'd say to anybody else. You're not going to ask a Olympic athlete, like, hey, you want to go for a run? Knowing that they're going to blow your doors off if you're just a regular person. You're still going to say that, and hoping they're not going to go running all crazy. So just think of us as an Olympic athlete, and we're going to slow our chair down to keep up with you because you walk slow. Well, I think we're just going to go through. We have a little outline here. Some of us often have somebody come up and say they're going to pray for us. They feel bad for us. Anybody want to comment on having somebody say they're going to pray for you?
I think we tolerate it. I mean, it's just embarrassing when they do it out in public. Just say maybe, oh yeah, I'm going to go home and I'll pray for you. But don't put the hands on us and pray over us.
Yeah.
In the middle of the supermarket. It doesn't go down well.
Yeah,
the
like
middle of
Joanne
super-
said, we just tolerate it. That's usually what I do, and I don't know. I might be a little mean on the inside, but when they put their hands on me and start crying, I laugh in my head sometimes. I mean, it's probably just a defense mechanism for me, so I don't feel so bad. But I don't really feel bad sometimes. Does that make sense?
No, that makes a lot of sense. I completely agree with that.
Yeah, yeah, they just assume so much.
They assume we have a bad life
Oh,
because
yeah.
we can't walk. No, I have a fantastic life. And I
And I
get
said,
really
"Oh,
irritated when people say, oh, it must be so hard for you. No, I get out and I do what I have to. I have a life.
Yeah, we all
And I
have struggles.
can't accept that.
now, I hope I'm not wrong here, but I believe in another conversation somewhere like Matthews had somebody say, some really bad stuff. Yeah, Matthew, did you have somebody say like if they were in a wheelchair, they'd like kill themselves or something? Or I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
some people have,
Well, I
have
think I
said
heard-
that to him, and they've said that to me before too.
Yeah, I've had some interactions with a few drunk people that like with scouts. As always when I was at scouts, like when I was a teenager, and they'd go, "I'm so sorry. Why are you? I'm so sorry." And crying for me and all this stuff. I'm like, don't worry, I'm okay. I'm good.
Yeah, or some people they say, "Hey, you're in a wheelchair. It must be fun to drive around everywhere and
Oh, yeah.
at speed." So
Yeah, we do
comments
get
like those.
certain jokes over and over, right?
Speed Racer. I don't know if you
Hey,
all heard that one.
don't get a speeding ticket.
But at least I can walk.
Oh. Well, what I like to tell people, say, all right, if you look at evolution, used to be people walked on all fours, then they evolved to where they walked on all twos. I'm more evolved than you because I don't have to walk.
That's a good point, I guess.
So,
I mean, at least you don't have the drunks hitting on you, Ryan. I really enjoy that.
maybe I'm a little
The
jealous.
drunks will come up and lean all over me in my wheelchair.
Ugh.
Or I've had a wonderful experience where I was at a local market and this guy who was high off his face offered me to go with him and have some cocaine. So, it can be interesting being in a wheelchair.
Yeah, that's a whole different subject too. The differences between men and women. And, I mean, there are some guys that are horrible to women out there anyway. But
Yep. But there's good ones like you guys.
oh, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll pay you all later.
All right, yeah. You have my Venmo, right? Or my PayPal. Okay, so yeah, so if we're gonna pray for somebody, just do it like you would anybody else. Okay, DJ said I had someone praise me for 15 minutes about how proud she was that I was out of hospital, shouting so everyone could hear her till she discovered I wasn't who she thought I was. That is weird when people see you in a wheelchair, they think you're somebody else that's in a wheelchair.
Oh, yeah.
Have I met you before?
That's definitely happened to me too.
What's funny, I went into the store that my friend, we're real good friends, hadn't seen each other in a little bit, and her parents owned. I went in there with the caregiver, and her dad saw me from the back of my head and started telling me, "Oh, hey, I know a guy that lives around here in a wheelchair, blah, 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 all this stuff. And yeah, I live like over here, talk to her. He came around, so, oh, it's you." He was shocked at his speed. And one quick thing for DJ or anybody that uses eye gaze technology is, for one, if you ask a question, give time for DJ to get his answer. And I think that might be the one place where it's good for a caregiver or parent or whoever you're with to say, hold on a second. Or I don't know if you can have a thing on your eye gaze that like automatically says, give me a minute. I think we're at an hour now. I think tomorrow or next week, we're gonna have a little bit of a continuation of this and talk more about like inappropriate topics, uh, just things maybe appropriate places to talk about or not to talk about them. And also, I hope I'm not breaking etiquette with DJ's eye gaze and skipping anything DJ has to say. DJ, do you have anything to add before we go on? Does anybody? All right, DJ's good. Okay, just wanted to make sure. All right, unless there's any questions or anything, we're gonna thank you all for coming. And okay. Before we go, the Family Friends of Duchenne is, we have multiple programs. We put our podcast out now, and let's see. You can find us on. Where all can you find us at, Lindy? We do it through Anchor, so I think we can also be on Spotify. There's
It's
Ask a
also on
Pete.
the site, right? On the website.
Yeah, it's Spotify. Okay. Yeah, there's this show, the recordings of it. Ask a PT. What's the other one? With or where's the play? Anyway, we'll get you a list here before we go. Family Friends of Duchenne presents. Okay, so that's what you're going to look for. Fridays with Phyllis Law Firm, and our show right here, and that way you can listen to us all week long on repeat.
Nonstop.
Right
Could be your ringtone.
there we go. Hey, all right, if you'd be interested in a ringtone of us, please let us know next week. And please follow us. Keep watching us. We'll be glad to have you back. All right. Thank you.
Right. Thank
Right.
you, everyone.
All right,
Bye,
y'all have a
guys.
good one. See y'all next week.
All
All
right.
right. See ya.
Have a good one.